Today I'm doing a week 2 update for my 31 Days of Horror Challenge, and I'm going to be going over all the horror films I've watched since the last update. So let's rock. Hi everyone, how you doing? Welcome back. I'm Fuzz. So today I'm doing the second weekly update video for the 31 Days of Horror Challenge I'm taking, and I'm going to go over all the movies I've been watching since last week's update. And then after that, I'll take a quick look at the numbers and assess how I'm doing so far in this challenge and whether or not I'm on target to reach or surpass the goals I've set for myself. But first off, I want to apologize to you guys for the delay in getting these videos out. I know I said previously that I'd be putting out these update videos every Wednesday throughout the month, but that goal is turning out to be a little bit more ambitious than I expected. I just keep underestimating the amount of work and time that it actually takes me to put these videos together, and in particular, how long it takes for me to edit these videos after I've shot them. So I really appreciate your understanding and flexibility with me here. I will still try to shoot for Wednesdays with these updates, but I'm going to keep it a little looser. Just understand that depending on what's going on, it may take me an extra day or so to get the videos out. But I can promise you that I will be doing an update video every week while I'm doing this 31 Days of Horror Challenge. Okay, so last week I went over all the horror movies I watched during the first 4 days of October. So today I'm covering my movie watching from October 5th through October 11th. Okay, so without any further delay, let's get right into this list. Starting off on October 5th, it was actually a big fat 0 for me. I wasn't able to watch anything that night. In fact, I think that was the night I was up really late editing my last update video for this challenge. So I really just did not have any time to watch any horror movies that day. So moving on to October 6th, the first film I watched that day was Dolls from 1986, a little Stuart Gordon action there. And I gotta say, I am really digging Stuart Gordon. I don't have a lot of experience with his films, but I've seen like 4 films he's done now. And I absolutely love every film that I've watched from him. They're fantastic. I've seen Reanimator, I've seen From Beyond, I've seen Castle Freak, and now I've seen Dolls. But after watching Dolls, it got me to thinking I really need to add a lot more Stuart Gordon to my physical media collection. There's just something about the atmosphere and the style of his movies that really resonates with me. And I gotta say, I was really pleased to see that Arrow Video is reissuing their Empire of Screams Enter the Video Store box set, because I missed the boat on that last time. And that box set, for those who don't know, has Dolls in it and also has another Stuart Gordon film, Robot Jocks. So the box set piqued my interest just for those 2 films alone. Now, I missed the boat on the limited edition version of this box set that Arrow released earlier in the year, and I was kind of bummed because I really wanted it, and I just didn't jump on it before it sold out. So when I heard just a few days ago that Arrow is actually reissuing this in a standard edition form, I was super excited. So Dolls was just so much fun. I really had a blast with it, and if you've never seen it and you're a big horror fan, you definitely want to check it out at some point. It is available on streaming right now. I can't remember if I streamed it on Shudder or Amazon Prime, but one of those 2 has Dolls available to watch right now if you want to try before you buy. Next up, also on October 6th, I watched The Incredible Melting Man from 1977. This is a Vinegar Syndrome 4K release, and this turned out really good. I'd never seen this movie before either, so this was a first-time watch, but I really enjoyed it. One of the selling points here, for me personally, was the fact that this has early effects work, practical effects work by the legendary Rick Baker. Now, for those who aren't aware, Rick Baker did all the groundbreaking practical effects for An American Werewolf in London. In fact, I believe he won an Oscar for his work on that film, along with about 6 other Oscars in his lifetime. I had a lot of fun with this film. You get that kind of old school drive-in B horror movie vibe going on here, very much so with this film. I really enjoyed watching this. Other people have said it was kind of boring. I didn't think so at all. I was into it the whole way. So yeah, if you've never seen The Incredible Melting Man, give it a try at some point. Moving on to October 7th. That was a big day. I actually got 4 movies in that day. The first one being Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, Dream Warriors. I had just watched the first Nightmare on Elm Street last time, so I wanted to add one more Nightmare on Elm Street entry to my total for the month. This is probably the last one I'll watch this month. I don't really feel like I need to see too many of the other sequels, for this kind of challenge. Really, the first film and Dream Warriors are my favorite Nightmare on Elm Street films by quite a bit. So I don't watch the other ones as much, but I do rewatch those two quite a bit. So otherwise, Dream Warriors, it's a fan favorite. I know a lot of Nightmare on Elm Street fans really dig that one, as do I. How much can you really say about it, right? It's a great film. So yeah, really enjoyed Dream Warriors on October 7th. Also on October 7th, I picked up a little Chuck Norris horror action. Now that sounds a little strange, doesn't it? I didn't even know that there was such thing as a Chuck Norris horror film. And this film is more or less that. Between the title and the fact that it's got Chuck Norris in it, this film is pretty much exactly what you would expect it to be. It's got some strong horror elements, but it's also got Chuck Norris kicking a little ass, right? So if you take the horror genre on one hand and mix it with the Chuck Norris action flick, throw in a touch of like scientific experimentation and a killer that seems almost nearly invincible, that's essentially what Silent Rage is. Now, prior to a few months ago, I'd never even heard of this film. There were a couple other people in the horror community that were talking about it, and that's where I got the idea to check it out. So, but I really enjoyed this one. It was a lot of fun. And, it's Chuck Norris, so, you got to keep your expectations realistic with Chuck, right? But I definitely felt like this was worth a watch and a well-done film, and something a little different for Chuck Norris than his usual fare. So if you've never seen Silent Rage, yeah, check it out at some point. Also on October 7th, I watched the iconic Dawn of the Dead, my favorite Romero film. Absolutely love this, and this 4K transfer from Second Sight is just amazing. Really great package here with this box set. This is the more streamlined box that Second Sight Films put out on 4K for this title. They have a much bigger box that has more discs, but this has all the essentials, including 3 cuts of the film, as well as a bonus disc. The bonus disc is Region B. For the special features, but the 3 4K discs with the different cuts of the film, those are all region free. But this is, of course, just an absolutely iconic classic. I'm not sure what else I can really say here other than to just say that if you haven't seen this 4K and haven't added this 4K to your collection and you're a big horror fan, this is a must-own title for any 4K horror collection. And the last film I watched on October 7th was 1989's Nightmare Beach. This was a fun film too. You got John Saxon in this one, who does a great job, and a little different kind of performance from John Saxon on this one than we've seen him do in other roles. Now, I wouldn't necessarily call this film an overt slasher. I mean, it's definitely got a lot of slasher elements to it, but the method of killing kind of throws that off a little bit. The method of kills here is not necessarily overtly slasherific. But I don't want to say too much about that because I don't want to give too much away for anyone who hasn't seen this film before, but it's definitely worth checking out, and I personally found this one to be an enjoyable, serviceable ride. So if you've never seen Nightmare Beach before, definitely check it out at some point. Moving on to October 8th, I only had time to watch one film that day, but it was an absolute classic, and that is Poltergeist. I've got it on 4K here, and as you can see, I opted for the Steelbook. I just like the art on the Steelbook a lot more than what came on the slipcovered edition. But this is an awesome film. I consider it to be a fairly equal parts collaboration between Steven Spielberg and Tobe Hooper. I know there's a debate going on, like, did Spielberg direct it or did Tobe Hooper direct it? I see elements of both when I watch it, and yeah, I had a fun time revisiting this the other night. Another one of those films that I don't know how much I can really say about it. The 4K transfer looks fantastic, so if you've never picked up the 4K yet, I would recommend it, if you're collecting 4K, that is. But other than that, yeah, I just had a lot of fun revisiting Poltergeist the other night. Next up for October 9th, that was another day I was only able to get one horror film watched that day, and that was House by the Cemetery from 1981. I've got the new Arrow 4K release here in the nice chunky box set where you get the poster, the book, and of course the 4K disc. I was really happy to find out that Arrow was releasing this. I had pre-ordered it, and I was excited about this. Now, the thing about this film, this is a great film. I only saw it for the first time myself about a year ago, and I watched it via streaming, and I liked it so much that I immediately went and put the Blue Underground 4K in my Amazon wish list. But at the same time, I knew that I had probably missed the boat on any collectible packaging that was available for that Blue Underground release. So I didn't feel like there was any hurry for me to pick it up right away. Well, fast forward to Arrow's announcement about this release, and I was super stoked to see this release because I'm a big fan of Arrow's collectible packaging. I like it when they give titles the royal treatment like this, where you get, all the good stuff with it. It's not just an Amaray case, but you actually get a nice definitive release. Now, this is the same transfer as the Blue Underground release, so I don't think there's really any difference here. I think the disc and the contents are more or less basically the same. If you have the Blue Underground release already, you may be just fine sticking with that one. I don't know that there's necessarily any need to pick this one up, unless you just want to get the packaging and you like the cool artwork and whatnot, and you want to add it to your collection for that reason alone. But aside from that, this is just a great film. I really enjoy it. It's a great Lucio Fulci film. I'm not even sure that I'm the biggest fan of Fulci in general, but I do like this film. So yeah, if you've never seen House by the Cemetery, give it a try at some point. Moving on to October 10th, this was another day for which I was only able to watch one film that day, and that one film was 1987's Near Dark, directed by Catherine Bigelow. Stars Lance Hendrickson. You got Bill Paxton in here. You got Jeanette Goldstein. So I love that, like, my Aliens peeps are in here. This is just a great vampire film. It's kind of a different take on the vampire film, almost like a vampire Western. But I watched this film for the first time last year. I picked this up last year for the first time. This is a German import, by the way, this Blu-ray. And I absolutely fell in love with this film. It quickly became one of my favorite vampire films of all time, if not my favorite vampire film of all time. I really enjoy this one. It's just a whole lot of fun all the way around. So if you've never seen Near Dark, I would highly recommend it. We've been hearing for the longest time that we're supposed to get a 4K of this at some point, which I will absolutely upgrade to when it comes out. So, I don't know if this is available to stream anywhere right now. I ended up getting this import Blu-ray off of eBay. So, but I hear there is supposed to be a 4K coming on the horizon. So keep an eye out for that if you're a fan of this film. Or if you've never seen it, but you'd like to see it, keep an eye out for that 4K. And the last day in this update, October 11th, continuing with the vampire theme, I watched 30 Days of Night. Another great vampire film with a different take on the genre. You got a great cast here. You got Josh Hartnett, you got Melissa George in this, and the vampires in this, they're much faster. They're absolutely brutal and hardcore, and have absolutely zero empathy of any kind. They are just nasty in this. But this is a really good film. It's got a lot of good suspense, a lot of good tension and suspense. So if you're a fan of vampire films, but you've never seen this one, you definitely have to check this one out. It's just it's a blast. By the way, if you're enjoying the content on this channel, do me a favor and please consider subscribing to the channel and hit that bell notification as well so you can be alerted when I'm posting cool videos that you might dig. Also, don't forget to like the videos as well. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm and the channel's visibility out there. So thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it. And then the last film that I watched on October 11th, based in large part on some of your recommendations, was The Descent from 2005. This was a first-time watch for me. I'd never seen this one, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. It's a decent horror flick. It makes me want to pick up the sequel, The Descent 2, which was also recommended to me. I haven't done that yet. I plan to pick it up at some point. I saw this one was cheap on Amazon, so I thought I'd grab this one real quick and see how I liked it. And I figured if I liked this one, then I'd eventually move on to the second one. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. This has some amazing tension in it, some really good scares in it. And I'm not someone who gets scared by horror films very easily, to be honest, but this had some great tension. There's a few cheap jump scares in there, but, that's to be expected with these kind of films. But overall, I thought this was just a really enjoyable ride. And if you've never seen this, I would definitely recommend it. So that's everything I watched since the last update. Now let's take a look at the total numbers for the month so far and see how I'm doing on this challenge overall. So since last week's update, I was able to watch 11 horror films between October 5th and October 11th. The total from last week's update was 13 films. So if I put the 11 and the 13 together, I've got 24 films watched total in the first 11 days of the month. So that's pretty good. I mean, I'm easily on track to watch 31 horror films in 31 days. I'd only need to watch 7 more horror films between now and the end of the month to reach that goal of 31. So I knew that goal was going to be pretty easy to reach. But of course, beyond that, my own personal goal was to beat my record from last year when I did this challenge, and that was 50 films. Well, if I'm able to keep up the pace I've got going right now, I'll easily be able to reach and surpass that goal as well. Now, an additional metric that I wanted to touch on real quick was the number of movies here that were first-time watches for me that I'd never seen before. So out of the 24 horror movies I've watched so far this month, 10 of them were first-time watches for me. So that works out to be about 41% of all the movies I've watched so far this month, the horror movies I've watched so far this month, about 41% of them are new movies that I've never seen before. Well, I think that's a pretty good number. If I can keep it around 40, 50% of what I'm watching is stuff I've never seen before, then I can feel reasonably confident that I'm continuing to expand my horror knowledge, my horror vocabulary, and whatnot. So that about wraps it up for this update video. If you're doing this challenge yourself, make sure you drop me a comment below. Let me know what you've been watching and how the challenge is going so far for you. And also, you guys, let me know what you think of the movies I've been watching. Any thoughts on that? I'd love to hear them. And don't forget, if you have your own YouTube channel and you're doing your own update videos for this challenge, don't forget to tag me in those videos so I can watch yours as well and see what you guys have been watching. Thank you so much for watching today. I really appreciate your support, and I'll see you soon.